if the U.S. Department of Education were to be shut down, it would really not affect homeschoolers one bit. Private schoolers wouldn't have much of an impact as well. There's always a question of what about civil rights laws? Department of Ed doesn't really protect those anyway. Department of Justice is the one that enforces federal
Interesting.
civil rights laws through lawsuits, through legal action. And so the only impact that would be felt would be in public education. And most of that impact would actually be beneficial to public schools. And I'll give you two examples, Zan. I can give you three. The first one is, as we've seen the increase of the federal Department of Education, there's not been a corresponding increase in test scores. So
Right.
we have only really to go anywhere but up. The second one, though, and probably the most major one, would be states would be free to make decisions. And some of these are hot button issues. Think of Title IX, for example. This is the landmark. I think it's 52 years old now. This was the federal law that Congress passed to make sure that women and girls would be treated fairly, particularly in sports, but there's a lot of other impacts. The Democrat administrations have interpreted Title IX in one way. They've had the gender identity issue. The Republican administrations have interpreted it differently, and I think more closely to what the intent of Congress was. But in any event, if you don't have the Department of Education kind of ping-ponging based on if Republicans or Democrats are in charge, then states could have that. Some states like California and New York might go in a very different way, but other states like Florida or Texas might go in a different way, and parents could vote with their feet. Our founders wanted the states to be the laboratories of democracy so that we have one country, but so that some of these decisions people decide. And if you don't
That's
like how
right.
it's going, you move to a different state. And then the final impact, and this would be very beneficial, I think, on public schools, would be essentially Department of Education is a middleman. Congress appropriates the money, and then it goes to Department of Ed to kind of the bureaucrats. There's about 6,000 federal employees at the U.S. Department of Education. That doesn't count contractors.
In
That
a
doesn't
huge building.
in a the Lyndon B. Johnson building that's right in downtown D.C.
That's right.
And they don't do a single bit of education of kids. There's about $50 to $60 billion a year that goes just to Department of Ed. Of course, there's more money with federal student aid, but just kind of the K through 12 side, that could just go straight to the states. Cut out the middleman, have Congress appropriate the funds. Those funds just go straight to the state departments of education to hire teachers to actually educate children. So again, no impact on homeschools, very little impact on private schools. And the impact you would have on the public schools could actually be really beneficial to the kids who are still in public schools.